Now, as people, if we're giving a performance on a stage or say on a TV program, we would have some professional help, wouldn't we? We would have a raised stage, a microphone, great lighting, maybe a makeup professional if we're really lucky. And we need to bring this production element with us for online events. If you want to look and sound good, which you do if you want people to pay attention, you mustn't skimp on this step. Now, it's not about making yourself look like a weird celebrity. It is about giving the audience, the people who have turned on their computers to see you, a good experience. So spend time framing yourself properly, like I have, head and shoulders in the screen, not too much of the room behind me. It's the person that you're looking at. If you're going to use notes, which is completely normal and quite often necessary, I'm using notes now to remind myself of the things I need to tell you. Just keep the document on the screen where it's as close to the camera on your computer, or if you're using a plug-in camera, it's as close to that as possible so that you don't need to look elsewhere to check on your notes. You are looking into the camera as much as possible and keeping that human contact as much as possible. Now, lighting is really important. It shows off the planes of your face. It makes you look human. If you had a window behind you, that can be great if the window's behind the camera, because it will light you. But obviously, if it gets dark or there's cloud cover, that will affect the way you look. So I would always recommend using some artificial light, even just a plug-in lamp behind you, or I've got quite nice sort of film lights because I do a lot of work from here. But, one of these that you can buy from any good supplier, usually the standard online one, but they're about £30, something like that, fluctuating. There were a lot more during lockdown. And it can look really rubbish when you don't have the light. If I quickly turn one of mine off, you'll see hopefully a difference. Bear with me for 2 seconds. It's gone just a bit dark, it's gone a bit dingy, it just doesn't look as good, it doesn't look as professional, and you're really getting the sunlight from that window hitting me only on one side, and obviously you can see the difference in colour there, and it's just not as good, is it? And for the sake of turning on some lights, I think it makes a really big difference to the way you appear on screen. So I'm just going to turn those on again. There you go. And you don't need those, as I said, you can buy that much cheaper version. So without sound, nobody would be able to hear you. And yes, you have sound, a microphone coming from your computer. I just don't think they're very good. I would always recommend using the one. Here's one I dropped on the floor earlier. Just something that comes with your phone or with your computer, the really standard one that plugs in like that. It actually has a microphone here, which is actually really good. And sometimes I would just clip it onto whatever I'm wearing if I don't want to look like I've got headphones in. I've actually invested in a really good one, but again, as I say, you can just use the one that comes with your computer, and not the actual one that's inbuilt. I think as well, you need to think about what's behind you. Is it an attractive background? Is it pleasant to look at? I have quite a nice room behind me, but it's a total tip, and I didn't have time to tidy it up today, and so I've just got a simple screen there. You don't want to be too distracted. You don't want people to be too distracted. They want them to be looking at you. Hence, I've put that there so you're not all thinking, what a messy cow I am. And I would also say that a tidy room or a screen like this is better than a weird digital backdrop and really bad green screen, because, as you know, it kind of makes us move and look weird. I would say you should sit upright, whatever, and look into the camera when you're talking. But sometimes if you're actually giving a presentation, it can be really effective to stand up and just move everything, your equipment around you so that it looks as good. I think that can help you bring a lot more energy, especially if you're really nervous. It makes you feel like you're properly talking to people. You'll see I'm just moving and using my hands as I would in real life. I think that's really important. That's what we do. But I do have like a wobbly office chair, and you do have to be careful if you've got one of those, that if you're nervous, you're not rocking or moving too much, which can be really distracting. And also we all have a few unconscious body movements that might betray our nerves a little bit, like, doing a bit of this or really gripping your hands. You want to avoid that. And a final word really on energy. Energy is super important. Moving around, smiling, looking into the camera, that shows you're human. Don't stop yourself from doing that. Don't feel uncomfortable if you do that. Remember, it's just people you're talking to on the other side of the screen, and they want to feel that you're human, not just a weird presenting avatar. So smile, engage, talk to them as you would to a human being in the room with you. That's my best advice.